Thank you so much for the time today. It is so cool to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. I really, really appreciate this. The gate. You're in Canada, right?
Toronto, yeah.
I know. Nice, nice, nice. It's exciting.
The first big question that I think people have wondered, I've seen them asking on Twitter and wondering if Q was actually for sure definitely dead. Can you elaborate? What would you say to that question?
Well, my immediate answer, Andrew, would be if you got two in the chest when somebody walk in the door and then you're bleeding out on the floor and nobody's really coming to your rescue, I don't know how you can really live that. I don't know, but gratefully enough, in a couple of days, episode 10 is going to air, and we will get the answer to that.
Yeah, right away. I do like that the question is answered quite quickly, so that was good.
Right, right.
I love his whole demeanor this episode because there were some questions left unanswered about where he stood, I guess you could say, in some regards. And I love him saying, I don't have a choice. Somebody's got to be the bad guy. How would you describe his philosophy on where he is at this point in his life?
Wow, amazing question, Andrew. So a lot of things kind of go through my mind at the same time. When I feel like this is going to be semantic, right? But what is the bad guy? You know what I mean? And in the case of this all, he understands his role as being maybe the villain, but getting things done can maybe get things done quicker and more efficiently than trying to go through the traditional route sometimes. So maybe what he's saying is that, you know what, I'm gonna let somebody else try to be the happy go politician-y, shaking everybody's hand and kissing the babies while I work in the back and do the hard, the grunt work and make sure things are done. So maybe that's what he's saying when he says the bad guy, but we also can't forget where this guy comes from, right? He is born and raised in a time and an era where a lot of things weren't given to them. They had to force their hand. They had to make people do stuff for them and make it happen, and with not a lot of resources. So I feel like Douda knows how to handle things when they need to be done, and maybe not the most diplomatic way possible, but if you need something done, definitely Douda's one of those people that you need to call.
And I do love that he's making moves in this episode. There's some things that he's kind of laying out a plan, you could say. But do you think he feels at all? Is he going to be sad at the loss of not being in the limelight anymore in some ways because he is taking that kind of step back?
It's going to be we'll find out, right? Because if we remember when he was introduced back in season 2, he wasn't in the limelight, right? He was just this omnipotent, say the word for me. Omnipotent. Am I saying it right?
I think so.
Omnipotent, right? Omnipotent. See, now I'm stuck on the word, Andrew. I'm not going to get past this sentence without remembering this word. But he was like this I'm going to do a Porky Pig for you. I believe this mystical figure that nobody for us saw, right? And he was still getting things done. Now that he's been in the limelight and he's seen that maybe it's not all that it's cracked up to be, and he realizes that he can still run the city from where he is, I don't know if he necessarily needs to be in the limelight, right? He did it well, he handles it well, and like he said, he's gonna, maybe help Victor Trigg get into politics, so he'll still have his hand in all of that. So I don't know if he necessarily needs to be in the limelight.
And certainly something happens that's going to maybe force him not to be anyway. So that's a fun whole turn of events there too. So at the same time, there's
wait, Andrew, I want to ask you though, where do you lie on that? Because I think the crowd also begins where, no spoiler alert, we're not going to really tell them what it is, but the crowd lands on two different sides of that, right? They're like, okay, wait a minute, but maybe that happened for a reason, and well, maybe he didn't need to do that to go so far. Where do you send a lie on that, Andrew? Because I'll tell you where I lie. This is not a spoiler. Everybody knows that. And last season, that Douda beat down Marcus.
right.
And my thing is that Marcus hit Douda first. Douda did everything in his power to get out of that apartment or house before anything happened. Marcus presented a question. Douda also presented an answer to it. Marcus presented a different question. At the end, Douda said something that was, foul and whatever, and aggressive. But that's Douda. And then Marcus decided to punch him in the face. Now, did Douda need to beat him how he beat him? It's Douda. Come on.
Of
It's
course he was going to beat him like that. I mean, let's be serious. No,
right.
I totally agree. I totally side with you. It just takes that one piece of footage to make him look bad, right? But of course he is bad. But
And then there's that, right?
well, I mean, again, we come back to that question of what is bad. I mean, he has such interesting motivations, and he's been pushed into corners, and now we get to see a little bit of another point in his I guess his love life. I mean, there's that moment that it's great to see that other side of him in this episode.
Yeah.
You know, how would you describe how he's looking at I don't want to give anything away about that because it's such a great couple of scenes, but how would you describe how he's looking at having a love life throughout all of the things that's happened to him?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing, Andrew? I just want to give a big ups to Lena Waithe and Justin Hillian and all of the writers over there, and Showtime, of course, for putting it out there and having a complex, three-dimensional black male character like that. I mean, we know they exist, we know they've been around for years, but how often do we get to see them on a network like Showtime, and you know, in the bright in the lights, and having helmed by an incredible writer and producer like Lena Waithe? Yeah, man, I enjoy the fact that his love for Tracy, in my opinion, is real. It's true. It's not a game. It's not like he's trying to get something from her so that he can, you know, manipulate it into the next, you know, deal of some sort. And so every time I try to approach those scenes like that, I mean, a lot of people will say, wait a minute, hold on, isn't he married? I mean, isn't he still married? But if we remember how Roselyn was introduced to us initially, and where she had been initially, and why they decided to separate, you know, it's understood. All of that is understood, and who's to know what's to happen with that relationship and the three of them. I enjoy the journey of it, especially as an actor. I get to play a lot of different colors, which any actor I think would love to have the opportunity to do. And Tai Davis, who is my scene partner in a lot of those scenes, is bringing it every day. You know, me, every time we're on the set, she's bringing it, so it makes it even more enjoyable to be able to do those scenes. So a huge shout out to Lena Waithe and Showtime for allowing that character to exist, as complicated as it is, because they could just make him the bad guy. They could just have made him, you know, this mean, evil guy and just have him be that. But no, they're like, you know what? There's all different types of love, right? There's all different types of interactions and black male examples. So let's have him be that as well. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
He is such a complicated character that, you know, it's one of the big questions in the show is what is he going to do next? Where is he going next? So it's great to see all of these pieces and how they fit together, especially this season feels like it completed a bit of a puzzle. You know, the last I'm curious about is, you know, in terms of pressure mounting on him, which was something that was described for this episode. You know, how would you describe how he deals with pressure? What's his way of getting through it?
Wow. The first thing I think he always feels is, why don't they just understand that I'm trying to help them? Like, because it seems like the pressure right now is coming from the inside as opposed to an outside force, right? It seems like for whatever reason, this is Douda talking, not Curtis talking. So this is Douda talking. It seems like all he's trying to do is make sure that Trig wins and that that Trig wins. Okay, we find out some things at 10 that's like, okay, that wasn't fair, Douda. Why did you have to do that like that, right? But I think that all up until this point, he's had the best interest for Jake, for Trig, for Trinity House, for Rock, for, you know what I mean? Everything he's done, he's been trying to make it better. It's not like he's ever came in there and did what Q was accused of doing, you know, taking the money or funneling the money and doing anything. He's doing everything to make it, but so it seemed like everyone seems to always angry at him or mad at him. I don't want him around, but it's like, hold on. I think in like the Valentine's episode, Tiara and everybody went out to dinner on Douda's ticket. It's like, okay, he's paying for y'all Valentine's Day dinner. Okay, what? If you really don't like him, you're gonna just use his money. So of course, this is Douda talking, not Curtis. So So I say, I feel like he just feels sometimes that he's misunderstood by the people that he's trying to help the most, as well as his community. I think that Douda actually cares about his community, and I can understand somebody feeling maybe you didn't have to go that far, or maybe you didn't need to handle it in that way, um, but the proof is in the pudding, right? At the end of the day, it gets done. And when no one else is even worried about it or no one else is even trying to do it. So this is now Curtis talking about Doodle because he loves him so much. I just love the fact that life is complicated. Life is messy. And even though you feel like you know the answers, sometimes your modus operandi is not the best way of handling it. You need to figure out someone else's. So that's sometimes what Douda needs to work on and focus on, is maybe somebody else's idea or input on how to do it could change it as well.
Very well said. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's fantastic talking about the series. Thank you very much.
Andrew, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you.